Hi everyone, I'm Christine from Yoga Berry. I'm a yoga for scoliosis teacher, and I also run a Facebook group called Yoga for Scoliosis Community, which you're very welcome to join if you or one of your loved ones have scoliosis, just to find out a little bit more how yoga can help, get some support, get some motivation. So it would be really nice to see you. Now, I've got scoliosis myself, so I've been working with my own body for a long time. I don't have a fused spine, but a lot of the people that I work with have fused spines. And in my Facebook group, there's lots of questions at the moment about fused spines as well. So I thought we'll talk a little bit about this today. So this is about the question, can I do yoga with a fused spine? Now, yoga can be very beneficial if you have a fused spine, especially the breathing techniques that we do. So a lot of this is quite subtle movements that are happening in the body. So it's maybe not the first thing that you might think of, but can bring huge benefits, just, strengthening the lungs. It's also affecting the deep connective tissue. The diaphragm will move really lovely and freely as well. There's a lot of yoga poses that are beneficial for fused spines. However, there's also some yoga poses that are not so beneficial. So there is a but to this question, definitely. So what I would say is, number one, find out, or you might know already, where exactly your spine is fused. So if you have a fused spine, it might be that it's quite a big area, usually is. So for example, T1 to L3, so that would be quite a large area that is fused, which is not able to move. Or not move as much. You will have limited mobility in that area of the spine. However, the rest of the spine is mobile, and it will take some of the pressure and compensate in some way. So it's just very important to be aware of those areas. And when you do twists and things like that in classes, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but we want to make sure that we're really considering the spine as a whole and not just twist in those areas that are really easy to twist, which might be just the neck or just the lower part of the spine, and you do a lot there but not much in the rest of the spine because you can't, obviously. It's much better to hold yourself back slightly and think of the body as a whole, and think of the deep connective tissue and the connective tissue around the whole body that also needs to be stretched and moved and strengthened. So very important to know what you're working with. The other thing I would say is really work within your limits. So I already touched on this now. Know where your limit is. Never push against the fusion of the spine. So forward bends and back bends are going to be very difficult, or basically not possible for you. If you're forward folding, always fold from the hips. So I'll show you from the side. So you won't be able to round much in the spine anyway. But even if you don't have a fused spine, I don't want you to do that. So really think about lengthening up and then folding from the hips. So the forward fold comes from here. So there's a lot of poses that can be quite beneficial. I wouldn't start with forward folds. If I was seeing you as a private client and do a one-to-one session, it's definitely not something I would start with. I would start with some releasing and relaxing of the tight muscles, and then I would work on lengthening first of all. So a lot of the poses, and you have a look at some of my videos that I've got, lengthening poses, anything lengthening upwards, lengthening the sides of the rib cage, downward dog, for example, if you have the flexibility in your hamstrings, in your legs as well, can be really good. You can do a half downward dog just on the kitchen counter, for example, as well. So there is definitely a lot of things that you can do. And then it's really important to keep those parts of the spine that are not fused, keep them mobile. So it's not about super flexibility in those parts, and that's actually, flexibility can sometimes be dangerous because it can weaken the body, but we want those parts that are not fused, we want them to stay mobile, we want them to be strong, and we want them to be stable as well. So very important not to avoid doing yoga, and a general yoga class might be difficult because there will be lots of things that you might not be able to do. However, if you tell the teacher before, hopefully they will be able to help you as well, and be able to encourage you. If there's strong back bends going on, there's just things that you won't be able to do, just work within your limits and really listen to your body. Your body is your best teacher. It will really, really tell you when something isn't quite right. If you're just starting out with yoga, I've heard this a few times before, that things start to ache a little bit, or there might be new sensations. This is your body kind of waking up and all of a sudden realizing, oh, okay, I can actually do other things, and there might be some resistance to begin with, but we never ever want to push against pain. And a fused spine, you will know when it's just not possible, and when that metal or the fused spine is just in the way and it's not working out. So I just want to show you what I mean, just with one pose, which is the cat-cow pose, which is taught very often in yoga classes. And you might see people doing arching and rounding, and arching and rounding. Okay, so you will most likely not be able to do this with, especially if you have a big fusion in the spine. So what I want you to do is think about lengthening much more than rounding and arching. So on the inhale, as if you're lengthening the crown of the head away from the tailbone, and there might just be a very gentle lift at the front of the chest. And then on the exhale, you bring your awareness to the back body. So it might just be a very slight breathing into the mid-back, into the thoracic spine, and then coming back to center. So on the inhale, you're breathing, taking the in-breath into the chest, and then on the exhale, you feel this into the back body. So it might just be a visualization, it might just be a visual image in your head, but there's still things going on inside your body. And even if you might just about see this tiny little movement that I'm making, but I can feel so much going on inside of my body. So don't feel like you do have to do big movements for it to work. You will still be able to do a lot of things. And as I said, especially, lengthening up and extending through the sides, Tadasana, mountain pose, really, really good yoga poses. So I hope this helps a little bit. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will hopefully be able to help you and answer them.